Hi, I'm Emma West. I'm a small business owner based in Falmouth in Cornwall. I grew up in Kent and I moved to Falmouth to do a textile design degree when I was 19. I met a local boy and fell in love and decided to stay. So my mum decided to join us and do her degree in contemporary crafts. So once I graduated from my degree, I then went straight on to do a PGCE in post-compulsory education. And I was a teacher at Cornwall College for about a year. My mum finished up her degree in 2008 and we decided to buy a laser cutter and set up our business, Pogo Fandango, making laser cut cards and pretty things. We got really good at making pretty cards and orders flooded in through the marketplace website, not on the highstreet.com. My business grew and at one point we had 9 members of staff and we're turning over £500,000. We never had to worry about marketing or advertising or social media because orders just came to us. That was until Not on the High Street decided to target a new demographic and our sales literally dropped overnight. So I had to start learning how to market our business to increase our website's traffic and to grow on Etsy as we built a name for ourselves. I became really interested in blog writing, social media content creation, branding and storytelling, and we became a top 0.1% Etsy seller. During the pandemic, I continued to run my business, but I also did my yoga teacher training. And I was given the opportunity to help run a social media account for our local yoga studio and write some blog articles. I then started writing for an online yoga magazine. I loved it so much that I ended up applying for the master's degree with the goal of learning more about marketing and digital communication, not just to help my own small business, but to help with my own personal growth. And here I am. As a small business owner of 16 years and counting, the landscape in which I operate has changed drastically. And of course, a changing landscape has meant a change in the challenges for marketing small businesses. Since I started my small business, social media has exploded. TikTok, Instagram and Pinterest did not exist when I set up my business back in 2008. The pandemic changed everything. Huge brands like Temu have completely changed the way that people shop. And AI has also become a thing, that's to name just a few. Small business owners are often wearing several hats at once, juggling orders, customer service, product development and marketing. Of course, this multitasking small business life comes with a unique set of challenges. With so many roles to undertake, time management can be a huge problem. With the cost of living crisis over the last few years, small businesses can also lack the budget for paid marketing. So whether that's paying for ads or paying a professional to market their businesses. Not only this, but business owners are not often trained or experienced in marketing. This is in fact the main reason that I applied for the MA. Things change quickly, and with technology advancing quicker than ever, the next 5 years are sure to have a unique set of challenges and trends for marketing and digital communications. I believe it will become even harder for brands to stand out in a very crowded market, and that authenticity and storytelling will be important themes and trends. One of the biggest challenges that all marketers are going to face in the next 5 years is standing out in an increasingly noisy environment. Noise isn't just volume, it's content overload, sameness, and constant scrolling. Social media has become an essential marketing tool for brands, especially small businesses who lack budget for big paid advertising campaigns. The number of social media users grew in 2024 by 4.7%, with 94.2% of internet users accessing social media every month. Social media is not expected to decline in popularity anytime soon, and forecasts suggest that the number of social media users worldwide will continue to grow steadily over the next few years. As such, it can be incredibly difficult for brands to stand out. Every single day, hundreds of thousands of brand-generated posts are created on social media through various platforms, aiming to encourage engagement, entertain audiences, and go viral. According to Sprout Social, there was a huge shift in the way we post on social media in 2024, and it's expected that the shift in the coming months and years will be even bigger as AI-generated content increasingly floods social media platforms. AI-generated content has a clearly recognisable style, and you don't need to scroll far to spot it on social media. And while AI content isn't inherently bad, when it's overused without human input, it can contribute to a sea of beige. This, combined with the recent faceless account trends on TikTok and Instagram, and the wide use of stock images to create quick and aesthetic posts, means that social media has become filled with posts that all start to look the same. In the last 12 months or so, quick viral micro-trends have exploded in popularity. In the last few months, for example, we've had the AI-generated action figure trend, the propaganda I'm not falling for trend, and the I met my younger self for coffee trend, to name just a few. Brands want to be seen as relevant, so they jump on these viral micro-trend bandwagons. The problem is that everyone is jumping on the same micro-trends, using the same trending audios, the same imagery, and the same text hooks. And as such, sameness has replaced originality. The problem with this is that small business owners with little marketing training are relying on these viral micro-trends to create their social media content, hoping it will build them an engaged audience of fans and loyal customers. But this will not work. A 2024 study reveals that viral events rarely lead to engagement growth, and effects emerging more quickly tend to fade faster, while slower emerging processes are more persistent over time. Chasing viral trends only offers short-term results. It is ineffective for long-term growth because it does not build trust, convey authenticity, or show any originality. Marketing in a noisy and unavoidable social media landscape will present a unique set of challenges in the next 5 years. As social media platforms get bigger and busier and are increasingly filled with similar content, marketers will need to think outside of the micro-trend box if they want to get noticed. Brand authenticity is defined as the extent to which consumers perceive a brand to be faithful toward itself, true to its customers, motivated by caring and responsibility, and able to support consumers in being true to themselves. As AI increases in use for content generation, this will create challenges around authenticity and connection. Recent studies introduce the AI authorship effect, in which AI-generated communications are perceived as less authentic than those generated by a human. This causes consumers to feel more moral disgust, leading to reduced positive word of mouth and customer loyalty. Mintel suggests that as a result of this, a new human as premium label will emerge. Audiences are demanding authenticity and real communication from real people. Brands that do not show themselves as authentic will lose trust. A study in 2022 showed that authenticity really matters to Gen Z. As they have entered the workforce and become consumers, Generation Z are demanding transparency and authenticity from brands. As more of Gen Z reach maturity in the next 5 years, this will become an even more important theme. Not only will authenticity become even more important for brands, but it will also matter more how they convey it. A 2023 article in The Drum warns of the dangers of inauthentic authenticity, where brands can try too hard to come across as authentic. It's the act of faking or copying something considered genuine. This simply won't work with younger audiences like Gen Z, who are the most brand skeptical generation ever. Brands need to be walking the talk. It is not enough to simply tell the audience that your brand stands for a set of values. Chief Strategy Officer Robert Campbell argues that recently, authenticity has become a bit of a meaningless marketing buzzword, and that real authenticity comes from a place of vulnerability. He sums it up beautifully with this quote: "Artists attract audiences who connect deeply to the stories they tell. There's an honesty to their relationship that comes from the willingness to share the flaws and faults we all own and have had to deal with at some point or other. It's why companies have consumers, but artists have fans." This idea is further supported by research from 2018, which says that honesty in admitting imperfection makes brands more transparent, human, and authentic in the eyes of consumers. Brands need to embrace their mistakes, share their concerns, and portray their life exactly as it is, a mix of positive and negative. Some brands are already doing this. Lucy and Yak launched Re-Yak, an initiative to help keep their products out of landfill by acknowledging that their dungarees will eventually need repairing or even repurposing. They started running workshops, offering tutorials on how to repair worn-out Lucy and Yak products, turn them into new items, or even swap old items for vouchers towards new ones. This openness and honesty about the life of their products is not only showing their authenticity by acknowledging that their products won't last forever, but it also shows that they are authentically committed to their sustainability values. Another UK small business doing this is stationery brand Martha Brooke. Last year, when their best-selling stationery advent calendar was copied, they shared their experiences on their socials and blog. The story was also featured in the Sunday Times, BBC Radio 4, and This Morning. They took what could have been a potentially damaging situation for their business and they shared their story, which resulted in overwhelming support from their fans on social media. One Instagram post about it received 24,000 likes and 420 comments, all of which were supportive, encouraging, and positive. Martha Brooke are a small business who champion small businesses and makers. They are driven by their values of kindness and quality. By sharing this story, they were able to stay true to their values whilst also showing consumers their vulnerability and negative experiences. Of course, there is always a risk with showing vulnerability and flaws. The authenticity paradox describes the fine line between authentically sharing hardships and small mistakes and over-disclosing failures and exposing an inability to do a job properly, resulting in lost trust. Leaders must be authentic whilst also maintaining a level of confidence in themselves. But being utterly transparent, disclosing every single thought and feeling, is both unrealistic and risky. An example of this would be when, in 1991, jeweller and business owner Gerald Ratner wiped £500 million off the value of his company after he made a speech in which he called their products crap and joked that a prawn sandwich would last longer than a set of 99p earrings available in his stores. Just the right amount of honesty and vulnerability shows an authentic human brand, but too much might not be a good thing. To truly show authenticity, brands will need to be truly authentic by sticking to their values and showing enough of their humanness to build trust and create loyal fans, but without overdoing it or unnecessarily exposing potentially damaging failures or weaknesses. This means, in the words of Dolly Parton, find out who you are and do it on purpose. As technology and AI-generated everything takes hold, there will be a growing sense of technology fatigue amongst certain audiences. People will start to crave connection as an antidote to the fast-paced, faceless, mass-produced world. As stated in Mintel's Global Consumer Trends, we can expect a strong desire to preserve spaces for human interaction and engagement with nature, the arts, and history. One way marketers are already doing this is through storytelling, which has become a major trend in recent years and is not going anywhere for the foreseeable future. Storytelling helps brands communicate their values and identity, and it fosters emotional connection with consumers. Thanks to dwindling attention spans in younger audiences, recent storytelling trends have been all about conveying information in as short amount of time as possible. This shortened attention span has been attributed to increased screen time, social media, and modern lifestyles. Research back in 2023 stated that the optimal story length was 15 to 20 seconds, with anything over 40 seconds having a negative impact on audience attitudes. The 7-second story and the 2-sentence story have become big news in the last few years. But storytelling is evolving, and it will continue to evolve in the next 5 years. As audiences begin to crave depth and emotional connection in response to the technological overwhelm, longer-form storytelling will be big news again. This shift towards longer-form storytelling is reflected in recent social media changes. Instagram has just introduced the 3-minute reel, whereas the previous limit had been 90 seconds, stating that appetite around longer-form content is changing. In 2024, TikTok also increased the limit on video length to 10 minutes. And brands are also beginning to push longer-form storytelling in their marketing again. Tesco's Food Love Stories campaign, which ran until earlier this year, is an example of brands starting to focus on longer-form storytelling again. The campaign changed the way that Tesco speaks about food in its advertising, and it won the Marketing Week's Brand of the Year award in 2020. The UK marketing director at Tesco said regarding this campaign, customers love the human story first and foremost. Food Love Stories has just been replaced by a new campaign, It's Not a Little Thing, It's Everything, which also uses storytelling to highlight the emotional impact of food. And Finisterre are a Cornish small business who use long-form storytelling effectively in their marketing through a podcast and magazine-style blog featuring longer stories, interviews and case studies that reflect their sustainability and ocean-loving values. Founder Tom Kay puts their success down to bringing the brand's true north to life through marketing, storytelling, products and their stores. Finisterre has continued to grow rapidly over the last 23 years, and this is partly thanks to their use of authentic storytelling to communicate their strong set of core values. Technology may have shaped audience attention spans, which in turn has shaped the way brands have had to market themselves. But technology will also change the way marketers actually create stories in the coming years. Widely available AI programs are now capable of generating creative visuals and audio in a matter of moments. AI-generated content has, understandably, been met with resistance by creatives as a result of job losses and IP infringement concerns, and it also raises concerns regarding sustainability issues. Despite this, AI technology has been used to generate content for major video games such as No Man's Sky and even write scripts for interactive fiction on Netflix. In a 2025 survey, 56% of marketers said that they already integrate or even extensively integrate AI into their work. It seems that AI will be unavoidable as a tool for marketers in the next 5 years. Shimp suggests that an effective way to create engaging storytelling is to embrace AI and combine it with human creativity to get the best of both worlds. They argue that while AI will become more important and more widely used in the future, it still lacks the ability to create new and authentic narratives. When it comes to telling a compelling story, human creativity and insight are irreplaceable. Storytelling will become a collaborative process between human and technology, where marketers use AI to refine, analyse and improve their creative ideas, making them more inclusive, engaging and effective, therefore getting the best of both human creativity and machine-driven insight. So what does this mean for small business owners looking to market their businesses in the next 5 years? It means that brands need to find a way to stand out rather than to fit in with the crowds. Social media will continue to be one of the most important tools for brands, so small business owners need to learn how to use it effectively. The answer does not lie in copying others, following trends, or using stock images. Stock images and videos may be convenient, but they do nothing for the brands using them. Originality is where it's at. Brands need to be creating original, honest content that represents who they are, what they do, and what they stand for. Brands need to be able to think outside the box. The world has enough mass-produced, faceless content. If businesses want to get noticed, they need to step away from what everyone else is doing and start being their perfectly imperfect, authentic human selves. One way to do this is through authentic storytelling. Here are some of my recommendations for small businesses to do exactly that. Behind the scenes, artists, makers and small business owners who are physically creating their products can share their designing, making or manufacturing processes. This will deepen connections with audiences by giving them extra insight into the care and attention that goes into creating products. This could be through social media, supporting images in product pages, in email newsletters, or on blog posts. One maker doing this well is Molly B Jewellery, who is a self-taught jeweller making handmade rings. She regularly shares footage of her making processes with her 422,000 Instagram followers, and her pieces often sell out within hours. Comments on her process reels include, "I'm mesmerised watching your videos. Handmade things have that extra magic. Craftsmanship is such a lovely part of being human, and I really love seeing your process." What Molly does with her behind-the-scenes content that works particularly well is that everything is aesthetically pleasing and considered. She uses visual storytelling, but everything is beautiful and on brand, even down to her pink nail varnish. And that leads us on nicely to my next point. Sharing more real content on social media. Think less polished, but still aesthetically pleasing content with purpose. It's absolutely okay, good even, to create imperfect content. Embrace the flaws and acknowledge the challenges of small business life. Imperfection is what makes a brand feel human and unique, and less polished content shows audiences that a real human created it. Remember that quote earlier about artists gaining fans by sharing their authentic selves, flaws and all? The same applies here. Not every image needs to be a perfect lifestyle shot with pristine lighting and composition. Sometimes a simple, well-lit photo of a maker's hand holding a finished product against an on-brand background says more than any polished flat lay or picture-perfect model setup. But it's always important to consider which realness and imperfections are okay to share. Just as with Mr. Ratner's crap 99p earrings that will be outlived by a prawn sandwich, some things are better left unsaid. Real and unpolished is fine, but it should always be considered rather than careless, and it absolutely needs to serve the brand's best interests. Personal branding. This means showing up as real humans to build trust with audiences. The main thing that all the small businesses we've looked at have in common is that they all have a real person leading the brand and showing up regularly. Martha Keith heads up Martha Brooke, Tom Kay shows up for Finisterre, and Molly is the face of Molly B Jewellery. The image you see here is taken from Joanne Hawker's greeting card business. She regularly overlays photographs of herself with her own illustrations to bring them to life. She has 73,000 followers on her Instagram account. And embracing technology in new and less conventional ways. For example, mixing hand-drawn artwork with stop motion, but editing content using AI tools for better sound quality, background music, and smoother transitions. There are many low-cost editing tools like Canva, CapCut, and LifeLapse available to brands who do not have big budgets, making technology accessible for all. It really is a case of playing to your creative strengths and being brave enough to try something that's a bit different. Lauren Aston Designs, a knitwear company specialising in chunky, oversized wool,
built their social media following to over 75,000 by creating large-scale flat-lay images with chunky wool and a camera taped to the ceiling. No big budget. Lauren used technology in an unconventional way by taping her phone to her living room ceiling, and it worked perfectly for her brand. Authentic storytelling does not require big budgets. It simply needs honest, authentic communication and a bit of human creativity, which is exactly why it's an ideal marketing tool for small business owners.
My final major project centres around Etsy and how sellers can use storytelling to stand out in oversaturated categories. Etsy has grown massively in seller numbers over the last 5 years. This has made it incredibly challenging for genuine artists, many of whom have little to no understanding of marketing. My research has centred around storytelling for Etsy sellers as a way to show authenticity and to provide differentiation from the mass-produced and machine-made listings by non-artists. And the overwhelming response was that it does matter. My findings show that storytelling is an important tool for communicating human authenticity and creating emotional connections. My findings also showed that storytelling is an effective way for brands to stand out in oversaturated platforms. I've recently set up an Instagram account and blog to offer support for Etsy sellers, and I'm using my teaching qualification to create affordable online courses to help them with different aspects of growing and marketing their businesses. This is informed by what I've learned both in my final major project and throughout the course. I will be using the information from my final research project to create a short course on how Etsy sellers can use storytelling in their content to help generate sales and improve conversion rates. So as my time on the MA draws to an end, I intend to continue to market and grow my own small business and offer advice and support to other creatives and makers. When I set up my own small business, I felt alone, overwhelmed, and confused. I had to learn how to market my business by making mistakes. I always wished that creative small business ownership came with a manual, or better still, a mentor. Artists and makers often don't want or know how to market their business, and they can't afford to compete with the bigger brands. So I would like to offer an affordable service to help makers get the tools that they need to grow their businesses. So my single most important takeaway from the MA studies has been the importance of human connection and authenticity. The key to selling products is not so much in selling products, but in building trust and forming those human connections. Marketing is the activity, set of institutions and processes for creating, communicating, delivering and exchanging offerings that have value for customers, clients, partners and society at large. Marketing is not a one-directional process. It's a two-way system where both parties receive value. While the brand gains customers and sales, the consumer must also gain something, whether that's information, trust, or connection.
In this video, we looked at some of the challenges faced by small business owners looking to market their brands on a low budget and with very little marketing expertise and experience. I identified standing out in crowded social media landscapes as a major challenge for brands over the next 5 years. I discussed the theme of authenticity and the trend of storytelling, both of which will continue to be important for brands and marketing in coming years. I made recommendations for ways that small business owners can use authentic storytelling as a tool to stand out in the noisy social media environments previously mentioned. I then discussed my own place in the future of marketing and my own ambitions to inspire, educate and support the next generation of small business owners and marketers. I'd like to create the support network that I never had, and I've already started to do this through the Makers Hub, which has grown to 18,000 followers on Instagram in just 6 months. And I've provided support to hundreds of small business owners through educational resources and one-to-one work. As I take the time to reflect on my journey over the last 2 years, I can see that I am leaving the course as a more confident, capable and knowledgeable person. And I'd just like to finish by saying thank you for listening, and thank you to the Falmouth University team for a brilliant course, excellent teaching and unwavering support.